Yes, I've learned to be more erotic than I ever expected. As an Igbo man, I've perfected the act to be international in any dream that I chase. To be industrious, be consistent, and powerfully focused. All the lessons I learned from the brothers in the tribe have made me dogged, hardworking, and exhibiting the ability and the capacity to survive in any kind of weather. Yes, I am an original wafo because Mamumu don't do.
So good evening, everyone. Here this evening with me is the AreaFada himself, and I am here this evening with Charles Oputa, who many of you know as a singer, songwriter, television presenter, publisher, producer, and also a human rights activist. Now, the street, as he may wish to be known, calls him the president of the frustrated Nigeria. I have the privilege of bringing to you this evening on Njinji Media TV, CharlyBoy Oputa Dede. I greet you and I say good evening to you.
Good evening, Mazi.
It is indeed
nice to be here.
Nice to see you again after a long while. What has been happening?
Yes, so many things have been happening. I'm sure you know the story more than I do. You're always talking to everybody, so you're in touch with what is happening back home. But regardless, we are hopeful, that a new dawn will break or should break, because that's the only chance we have to start to change the narrative, So it's all hands on deck.
Yes. Now, in the last couple of, weeks, months, we have seen you, on the streets where you go. I see you with your electric scooter, and also we have seen you. And I said, well, I think I will have to come and borrow one of those scooters from the AreaFada himself. Would you mind?
You have a lot of it where you are now, so you can, and it's safer to ride it there than here.
But
sometimes I wonder why I do the things that I do, because it's quite dangerous in Nigeria. You know that.
The last time we spoke, I asked you if you had stopped riding motorbikes. You said yes. When I now saw you on this, I'm like, I thought he said he stopped riding. Why is this still riding something else?
That's power bikes now, but this one a bicycle or lesser form, scooter.
Well, it's still motorized anyway.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, so let's come down to nitty-gritties here. Obviously, last couple of weeks, I don't know when the video was shot, but I saw that video a couple of weeks ago. You went to see the former president of Nigeria, His Excellency Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, and in that video, it appears both of you were arguing who is the president of the frustrated youth and who is the grandfather of.
If, as the president of frustrated youths of this country, now me be their president, okay? Me myself, I did frustrated because my life.
You are president and of
frustrated Nigerians, youth. Yeah,
I am their father.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. My question is this: if you were asked, say somebody from street, we no see, you don't try everything, no job, nothing, no hope. I mean, the environment is so toxic. I don't know what can grow in a toxic environment. If you were asked to advise that young Nigeria, Baba, what would you say to that person to give them hope? Because we have a serious battle in our hands. Some people have lost hope.
So that we are poor and frustrated is not the fault of God. It's the
Now,
choice.
let me come back here. Obviously, that conversation, I found it very, very interesting. What was your key takeaway from the conversation with Olusegun Obasanjo?
You know, as a father, sometimes I need to consult with elders for them to throw more light or to give me a word of advice. How should I continue? Because in all of this, like you know, I've been at this for the past 45 years, and sometimes it can get overwhelming, sometimes it can get tiring, but that doesn't mean anybody is about to give up. So to sharpen or to re-ginger yourself. So once in a while you meet elders or you meet, you know, people in your group who can bring about the ginger, who can inspire you to keep, you know, to keep trucking on because this is doing the needful. So we were not arguing. I can't be arguing with Babana. I say, okay, I'm the president. He says he's the father, and which is correct. He's the father. He's much older than me. So if we're all frustrated, he's the father of frustrated Nigerians, sir. Abi?
So he basically gingered your swagger in the street palace.
Yes, you can say that. Yes, correct.
So and recently as well, you made a declaration video, and when some people saw that, they thought, the headline was, "I'm in love," and many people thought, how can it's we thought AreaFada is married, is no longer playing this love hide and seek game, but he said he's in hide and seek.
Not that, not that kind of love, but the
Okay,
kind that, you know, the person in question, which is Peter, it seems to me like he's casting the Charlie Boy image. Charlie Boy, like we know, is just for the ordinary man in the street. You know, they carry shoulder. He goes about, he doesn't go about with security guards and all of those things. Yeah. And I saw somebody who is down to earth, like Charlie Boy. I saw somebody who is humble, like Charlie Boy. And that's why I started to fall for this guy, because I had intended to make my announcement in November, not understanding, you know, all the political shenanigans that are going on. I said I'll give myself some time because this would be the very first time I have ever endorsed anybody in my life in Nigeria.
really?
This is going to be the first time, yeah. This is going to be the first time I'm going to cast a vote come the election time. Okay. And I didn't think there was any need for to waste time. You know, there was no time to waste. So that's where I want to be. I feel good. I feel emboldened that it finally came out of my mouth,
Wow.
so to
So
speak.
that's
Yeah.
that love that everybody was worried about, or rather, we're very inquisitive to know the direction of that love. That love you professed was for
Mhm.
Peter Obi, right?
Yeah, because for the first time, I'm seeing this tsunami movement. I dare say that he's just at the right place at the right time, because this is way and above Peter Obi.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movement. Some people say it's a continuation of
And so,
what you might call it, NSAS.
mm.
You know, reawakening of the consciousness. Yeah, because everybody, quite frankly, is sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. That's why I'm the president of Frustrated Nigeria. I'm also equally frustrated. So
But that's what
for
you've been
once,
actually been fighting for. You know, when you sang our mood don't do all
Yes,
this,
yes, yes, it is. But sometimes you get overwhelmed because there's too much rubbish going on in the system. You can imagine. I did a Twitter post, and all I was trying to say there, the fact that, listen, we should stop this ethnic bigotry. We should stop this religious nonsense. Because all my Yoruba brothers in the East, nobody's disturbing them, even come election time. So why would the situation be different in a place like Lagos? I didn't understand it. So, but as usual, there are good and bad people everywhere. The bad people took that tweet and turned it on its head. It was like, oh, this guy is a tribalist, though. How can they say such a thing? It doesn't make sense, you
you know,
know. But I guess bad people will do what they do, try to twist things, try to, But I think the sooner we understand what's happening, because we are going to the same market, you know, a poor person in Sokoto is the same as a poor person in Lagos or in the East. And we're all afflicted one way or the other.
I was about getting to that part, of when I get into the tweets and some of the controversies, I was about getting to that on a later part. But before I do go further in the discussion regarding 2023 and the activities that are happening, I would want to know your view of obviously yesterday that the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in the person of President Muhammadu Buhari, was in your state of origin. And they went, or rather, he's gone there to commission projects. In 21st century, I mean, in Nigerian way, projects must be commissioned before they are put into use. So I don't know what's your take regarding, the reception he got yesterday, and even that concept of not building projects. And people are already showing pictures of the sections of the road that was commissioned yesterday not even being completed. So what's your take?
I don't believe in this government. I don't trust whatever they say they do, So you're going to get the same obvious answer from me. I don't know what happened in the East. I don't even know why they're there. And for any reason at all, I think it's all a bunch of their shenanigans. And I don't believe in them. And that is why, for this movement, this tsunami movement that is taking place, all I can do is to be hopeful, because I'm hoping that in my lifetime, I start to see that change that we're all desirous of. Because I've worked for this for the past 40 years. So I'm entitled to, I think, not just me, we're entitled to some succor, some peace of mind. Because let me say this, if you take away the insecurity that we have presently in Nigeria now, regardless how the naira has fallen, regardless how poverty has been so weaponized, you will not have a lot of Nigerians running away. It's like we're breaking away from jail, from this prison house. If you know the amount of brain drain that is going on, you'll be amazed. My friend went the other day to try to get just an ordinary passport. And they said he had to come back next year. Why? Because they can't meet up with the supply. Everybody wants to get out. Now, that is so sad, considering the kind of brain drain that is going on. The best of the best is leaving. You know, how do we deal with that? And then you have a situation whereby the worst of us, Mazi, is leading the best of us. What do you say to that?
That's indeed a tragedy. That's indeed
That's
a
what
tragedy.
our country. That's what. That's where we are now. So it behoves, like I will always say, the salvation of this contraption that you call Nigeria lies in the hands of its exceptional people. Who are those people I keep talking about? They're no other persons than the youth.
Now,
Those are the only people that can deliver us.
yeah. Now you're talking about the youth, and there appears to be this north-south divide. You are aware that the person you said you've declared for many
Mhm.
times, and many a times, people have called him ethnic, or tried addressing him with ethnic garb, in the sense that sometimes they say, even the governor of Kaduna recently said that no one knows him in the north. Now, in that line of argument, do you think that that there is any form of truism in that statement, or is it something that they just do, just say in order to probably bring him down, or probably, let him think he has no chances of, making it come 2023? And
I
that would
just told you that. I just told you that I don't trust whatever these people say or do. But as a father, I have
I think the network is on. Now, at this point, I would bring another guest in that is with.
one of my exceptional children.
Sorry, go ahead, Area Father.
I'm always surrounded with my exceptional children, and I have one of them here, and they can appropriately answer that question.
Okay,
Because for me, no matter what they do or say, I don't believe it. I think it's all propaganda. But I think they are feeling the heat. They cannot say they are not feeling the heat.
mm, true.
So,
So,
Madmo, would you want to say?
so I
Sorry.
think, I think on that note, because the question that I asked you is slightly related to the North. On this case, you say you have one of your children here. That is Dr.
And it's
Madmo.
from the north. Yes, it's from the north too. What a
Madmo,
perfect.
Madmo, you're welcome to this conversation. How are you?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay. So nice to have you here, Madmo. So, the question I asked before, when you look at the narrative that Peter Obi is not popular in the North, now many of us, obviously from the South, are not there with you guys. What's your view? Is that true? And what do you think are his chances of winning that election in the North as well?
First of all, it's important to say this here because it's on record that Peter Obi's biggest vote is going to come from northern Nigeria. And I'm going to give you clear statistics so you can understand. The disenchantment, the deprivation, the pulverization, and the suppression of Nigerians generally, if it is, let's say, 50%, in northern Nigeria is 95%. This is why you see the heightened brigandage, the looting, the terrorism, the banditry, and all of things happening. It's all warehoused in northern Nigeria. All billions and billions of naira from the NNPC to the coffers of the accountant general are all from the north. At the same time, the north happens to be the poverty capital, one of the poverty capitals of the world. That's where you have almost 15 to 20 million out of school children. So you can see that clearly. But I'm going to give you even more statistics to back that up. You see, two presidential candidates came out to say, one said that Northerners are not on social media. The other said that Northerners will only vote for Northerners. So they drive this parochial mindset. This is how they rig elections, and this is how they continue to perpetuate this rhetoric perspective that has taken us nowhere. They do that deliberately. And if we have over 500 languages, let's keep it at the major languages, which is over 250 languages. You can't give 50 languages to southern Nigeria. But how come anytime you think about northern Nigeria, you think about either the Hausas or the Fulanis? Where are the over 200 languages? They are all in northern Nigeria. So you see, this is how we unbundle the lies of the yesteryears that these politicians and oligarchy have continued to parade, to keep us in darkness, and the naivety and the ignorance of people, because on the majority, Nigerians are not really educated in the context of reading and researching and understanding the dynamics of our geography and our cultural and spiritual values. So they banter and they continue to put forth those narratives that are completely out of touch with the current reality that we have. First of all, I remember I had an interview and I challenged the Igbo people. I said, any killing you see in northern Nigeria, 2 out of 10, there is an Igbo man there. There's a Yoruba man there. That's how mixed up we have become. Aside from the fact that 40% of northern Nigeria are Christians. And this is not to drive in any bigotry argument or narrative, but to tell you how big it is. I've been on ground from Maiduguri to Kano to Sokoto. I was born in Kaduna. I served in Kano. And in the last 6 weeks, I've been to Jalingo, to Taraba, and all those places. The narrative they are driving comes from just probably less than 1% of people. But because of the culture set of northern Nigeria, where whether you're a Christian or you're a Muslim, by the way, the Christians dress almost like, because it's a cultural value, and they are not as loud as our brothers down south. So because they do not engage with people, these leaders continue to take advantage of the cultural values that they have. You know why, as a Christian, if you want to be killed in northern Nigeria, once the Bible says that when they slap you on one cheek, you should turn the other cheek, in northern Nigeria, they subscribe to the Bible wholeheartedly, in the same way the Muslims subscribe to the Quran wholeheartedly. You couldn't try that to an Igbo Muslim or a Christian Muslim, okay, or a Christian Southerner. You can't try that. So I'm saying this in context so you can appreciate the cultural value of northern Nigeria, which the leaders have continued forever to take advantage of. However, that is changing. But just to keep it here, what I've done has completely unbundled what they have said as concerning Obi's candidature or candidacy in northern Nigeria. His biggest voter coming from there, because northern Muslims and Christians are joining hands together like never before in the history of Nigeria. Christians are dying, Muslims are dying. All the tribes that are warehoused in northern Nigeria are dying. So they are disenfranchised, they are decimated. And tell you what, they want somebody, because Obi provides solution. When they look at Obi, they don't see an Igbo person. They see a Nigerian that is well beyond the rhetorics of religion, of ethnicity and anything. And they see somebody who is answering their question economically. The Igbos who have businesses in Kano and other places, they are the ones taking care of all those northerners. And so they will stand to ensure that they protect them. The narrative of that bigotry that they are selling does not even exist with the Nigerians of today, who are between the age of 18 and 35.
Are you insinuating that there is the point of departure between the ruling elite and the youth and the masses of the North? When I say North, when I say
understand
North,
perfectly.
Basically, yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, and because of the context of our discussion, Kwankwaso's caps, the Kwankwasia symbol
Red cap,
was
yeah.
put into fire, and all the youths were chanting and burning it. Even Buhari cannot win election in Katsina as it stands right now. So it's not, this is the reality, that is ongoing. Forget about all the peddlings that you're hearing from all these northern leaders. Northerners, even the Fulani boy in the bush has a phone and he can access and access this interview we are having. This is the age of technology. everywhere. The wheelbarrow boys, they all are on phones. This is why it is an aberration, because all the kidnappings that are taking place, guess what? It is through cell phones. They make the calls. People go to the bush to deliver and collect monies. This money goes back into the coffers of our banking system. So the reality is completely, these guys are alienated from the reality on ground. And I'm telling you facts and figures.
Okay. So you previously you alluded to the fact, or rather you alluded to the statement made by the former Vice President of the Federal Republic, in the person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, when in an interview he alluded to the fact that over 80% are not on the internet or doesn't have internet access. So, do you and the younger people of the North, the new face of the North, do you consider that an insult, or does that actually represent a controlled narrative?
It is both, but even much worse, because how do you explain that? I have no vocabulary to describe the evil that statement represents. It is I mean, short of words, because look at the algorithms, the back channels algorithms is showing. Get on Facebook and see the engagements that we're having with all people all over the world. And guess what? Northern Nigeria has some of the most educated people in the timeline of global history. We have was Aliu, works in one of the best car designers of the world. In 1978, people don't know this, but Google it and see. Iya Abubakar was the VC of ABU. He ratified the calculation before Apollo 1 took off. He's a Fulani man. This is how educated our people are. Sound and educated, and can compete with anybody and anyone across board all over the world. So it is not just an insult or a controlled narrative. It is just the height of evil. Even the devil cannot be that bad, because the datas are there.
Wow, thank you very much. So, AreaFada, now moving forward, I heard that there is AreaFada, you can unmute. Okay, sorry, I have unmuted you now. That's fine, I've unmuted you. I hear that there is a planned program that you have in terms of mobilizing the youth, both north, south, west, east, everywhere. Can you tell us, the nitty gritties of that, program? Maybe we can use this program as well as a call to action towards that as well.
Well, as a father, it gladdens my heart, which is why I brought one of my children to this show. It gladdens a father's heart when the children seem to be in sync, where they seem to understand where the family is headed at. Because in the Igbo adage, you have, a proverb that says, Omeka naya, or nwa mekale naya bụ ezigbo nwa, meaning that a child that is greater than the father is a good child. Okay? So my job as the area father is not to come and hug anything. I've done my own. And that is why I have kept shouting that the salvation of this country lies in the hands of the youths and nobody else. And one of them you just listen to right now. And you can go and verify who he really is. And you will know that Nigeria is flooded with exceptional people. So my job as a father is to get them together. My job as a father is to give them the ginger, to inspire them. Because after 40-something long years, I'm still standing. But because I know that these are exceptional people. And because I know that whatever we so desire is humanly possible. So I've let them take the front row seat. Now, apparently, Dr. Mo is one in charge of coordinating. My job is to show up as a father, so the youngsters can feel gingered, can feel inspired, and then watch them do their thing and be happy that, like I said earlier on in this interview, that even before I croak, I'm beginning to see that things are no longer the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's going to be very difficult for them to get out of this one, Mazi.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be difficult because this tsunami kind of movement is a movement of hope. It's a movement of the new Nigeria young people want to see, and debarring them from that will come at a very heavy cost.
Now,
And I
okay.
think at this point, let because you asked a very important question, MadMo, how are we organizing this thing, and what's going to happen? Because we called it the mother of all rallies. It's not just going to be dancing in the street. Oh, no,
Is it going to be
you are
nationwide
coming
or
there.
is that a particular
It-
city?
no, it's happening in the federal capital.
Okay.
It's happening in Abuja. MadMo, I think I hand the mic to you.
Okay, Dr. MadMo. So, can you tell
Yeah.
us more about the planned program?
The planned program, this is why we are here today. It began today with the press conference we had. And the press conference marked all the schedule. It is not business as usual. So we had the press conference today, and tomorrow, because tomorrow is International Democracy Day, which is celebrated every 15th of September every year. Tomorrow we're beginning. It's a showdown. We're beginning the showdown from tomorrow, and tomorrow we are having people from across board. AreaFada is already in town. We're having some of the technocrats, politicians, trade union activists, civil society groups. They all will coming together in Abuja in a place we call the H&C Event Center in Area 3. And in that event, we're going to be educating, entertaining, bringing, to bear some of the values that is required to help us navigate these processes, because we are so blessed. Can you imagine that we have the International Democracy Day tomorrow, and just a few days down to October 1st, it's Nigeria's independence. This is why it is not a coincidence that we are together as a nation. So we're going to do that tomorrow. And after tomorrow, we're also breaking into units. 17th of September is World Cleanup Day. And that is very symbolic for all of us. What we're doing, we're having groups of people. So rather than just chanting and running across the street in the name of rally and marches, we're getting on ourselves with the value of the sustainable development goals. And what are we doing? We're activating the code of cleaning up the entire city. And why are we doing that? We want to clean up, in the words of our father, all this nyama nyama and poto poto of people. So we want to clean them up because we don't want Peter Obi to come and take over a city that is jagwa jagwa and poto poto. So we're going to clean the place up. And as we are doing that, we are adding value to that signatory that Nigeria is to the SDG. And also at the same time, bringing value to the grassroots and channeling the energy of our people. And then we move to the 21st, still keeping it at the 6 area councils, like we call it over here in Abuja. 21st is World Peace Day. So we're going to have placards all over the country showing things like Naira no get tribe, Naira no get religion, Naira no get region, Nigeria na Naira, Naira na me and you. We're having placards like Nigeria is more than Wazobia. Nigeria is not Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. there are 500 more, and we are all equal. We're going to be having a lot of things that speaks to the heart of our people, that connect us across board, across religion, breaking the lines of social stratas, and our ethnic divides. This is what we're going to be doing on the 24th, on the 21st, and then on the 24th, we're going to shut the whole city down. There's going to be a parade, just like you're seeing with what is happening in London. We're going to close the city right from the Unity Fountain Monumental Circle to the city gate. We're going to have a showdown wherein we're going to have artists and Nollywood actors and all kinds of people, activists and all of that, coming to speak words of wisdom, of hope, of courage, and also to line up what we must do if we have to bring to bear our aspiration and dreams. And guess what? We are not naive about the job and what is ahead of us. We are very, very abreast, but these young people are more than willing to pay the price, to carry the burden, to go all the miles, taking care of all that is required. This is the value chain, because we are asking for the ideal vote. The ideal vote is what will bring what? The ideal presidency. These activities are what are going to activate and unbundle, the ideal vote as we move towards the 2023 presidential election. These are the itineraries that are set before us, and we already began today.
Okay, that's the most of the itineraries that, or rather, all the itineraries that you hear mentioned here, centered and in and around Abuja. Are there plans to also extend this beyond Abuja? No, if we look today, there was a time a 1 million man march was kind of muted to happen in Kaduna. And the Kaduna state governor came out to say that, well, if that happens, they're not going to get up to 100 people unless imported individuals. Obviously you being our northern representative here, is there or are there plans that within the north, especially the northwest, because it appears that the north central is becoming more obedient than the other regions? Are there plans that the northwest or maybe the core north, quote unquote, would also join the fray and have an understanding and also have the same taste that Abuja is having?
Oh, absolutely. It is important to have it in Abuja first, and then we can domesticate it around the other state. As I speak to you, I'm in touch with the Kaduna people, and on the 17th, they'll be doing a march. In Plateau State, they'll be doing a march on the 1st of October. These are different ingenious ways, like Father Riley spoke about, AreaFada was very scared to his pants. That's why he had to get the police people out, because he knew that over 2 million people were going to be out, to disgrace him and make a public show of him. So he had to do that. But we are much wiser and bigger than that. So we're going to clean up his mess on the 17th. That is World Cleanup Day. So we get out our bags and all of that and obediently clean up the entire place. You see, this is the value that we are bringing in. And I want to just watch and sit back and smile while AreaFada cries. This is the whole agenda. We're taking it around the entire country. But this time, they're not going to see obedient people just dancing around the street like people who do not know what they are doing. We are activating things that would not only bring dividends to us here, but show value chains, in the international equation. This is what all this ratification is all about, and this is what it's about. So, but it's important, as a pilot scheme, to have it in Abuja, and then Lagos, Katsina, Sokoto, Borno, all the other places, they're all going to. I'm in touch with them, and I'm here with you live. Fada has already given his full support and go ahead. So all we are doing is just activation. This is action time, nothing more. No long story. It is what? Talk and do season.
talk and do, exactly. And I can see AreaFada there smiling in agreement to what you're saying. AreaFada.
Why won't I smile? That is why I keep saying, because for all my years that I've gotten into social reengineering, I've met exceptional, outstanding people who have led me to believe, people I've even learned from, who have made me to believe that there is hope. It's just a question of them getting themselves together. And I am glad, I'm thoroughly glad that finally it's beginning to happen. Look at the one who just spoke right now. Okay? So you can see a lot of wisdom in what he's trying to say. And as a father, my own is just to coordinate and make sure people are not overly unruly, because this thing, it be like say sometimes they enter everybody brain. You know, people are excited. When you drop the name of our candidate, people just go berserk. But we have to do it because we need to start to show that we are way and above the pettiness and the stupidity I see in the social media these days. Okay, and that is primarily what we're setting out to do.
Now, AreaFada,
Uh,
I can't help but ask you this question. How is it that over a span of 40 years, what is the secret of you continually re-engineers? You keep re-engineering and keep reinventing yourself to be this top notch that you remain. How does that happen? What's the secret?
well, I don't know. I guess when your soul is involved in a particular stuff, it's something that I think is spiritual. It's something that I think flows through the vein. It is who we are. I remember my father always used to say, then I was so young, I didn't really even understand what he was gaggering about. At that time, he used to say something like, wherever you see injustice, fight it before it comes and chops your head off. And I looked at the idea of anything chopping my head off. So, but he said it so much that it stuck. Okay. And I can't say for sure when this activism started, but my rebellious streak started from the house. I started to even challenge my father as far as the status quo was concerned, because he had taught us to be free, he had taught us to be inquisitive and to ask questions. Okay? So because it's coming from a good place, because it's coming from the soul, it's coming from the heart. You can't I used to I wouldn't want to use this analogy, but I need to use it. You know, like some people are addicted to nicotine. Some people are addicted to smoke or addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to seeing that things we have an enabling environment where young people's dream can strive. And that's what gives me the kick. I might be penniless. I might be a little depressed because of the toxicness that I see in this system. But when I see young people who are confident, who have been consistent, like the last speaker, I'm re-energized. So when you talk about reinvention of self, they reinvent me. They activate me to find new ways that I don't get bored with what I love to do. I think
Mm.
that's just the basic
Thank,
stuff.
thank you very much. We will be winding up now, but before we get to the bottom of it, let me take you away from much politics and let's get into Um, Recently, there was these photos that appeared online where you went to with His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi to see Femi Anikolapo
Ani
Kuti.
Kolakpok Tuti. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you went to see Femi Kuti there, it's no one knew. It's just like what they say in Igbo. We didn't hear when it was, when the palm front was caught. The only thing the people heard was the downfall, the beam on the floor. So what actually transpired there, and how did you get involved in visiting Femi with His Excellency there?
Simple. Peter is somebody I used to know. Not that we used to drink tea every morning. I knew him from a distance. He played an active role when I lost my mother. And so he, out of the blues, calls me up and had asked me, have I seen the latest that was in the social media? You know, and I said no. He now told me what's happening. And long story short, do you know Femi Kuti? I said, yes, it's somebody I know. He said, I would like to meet him. My heart softened when he said that to me over the phone. I said, really? You want to meet Femi? He said, yes, why not? That he's coming back at a certain date, so we can just go straight to his house, about 10, 15 minutes stuff, and he's out of there, but he would like to meet him. So I now called Femi. I said, this is what's going on. Peter would like to meet you. Uh, and he said, oh, why not? But I don't want to talk about that right to Femi's place, though, because it was in another state. And when we got there, how the two bonded was just something that really fascinated me, because this was a man who was telling me he had other appointments that, okay, we'll stay 10, 15 minutes. Mazi, we stayed there for over 3 hours,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? And Femi is not that easy to deal with. But that day I saw him like a little kid in a sweet shop. And the same with Toby. They were laughing and having fun and still talking about Nigeria and the young people. So for me, I did, like I said, as a father, I've done my own bit. There was no ceremony about that.
Hmm.
They two met and they two clicked.
Wow. Now, what does that tell you about the character of the man in question? Many have said that, Peter is infectious, that you cannot
He
come
is.
close to
He is.
him and remain the
And that
same.
is why, that is,
So he has also
Mazi, that
infected
is
you.
why, like minds, it takes one to know one.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when I say I've fallen in love, and that's because I see a lot of the Charlie Boy character in him also. Humble, charming. You can say what you like about the brand Charlie Boy, but wait till you meet him. Is a your impression, your ideas will just melt. I've
True.
never
I'm
seen
a
anybody
living
that has
witness.
met Charlie Boy and had
I
not
remain the
fallen in
same.
love with him.
You can't you
Yes,
can't meet you can't
and
meet the area father and remain the same. It's like
Abi, Dr. Mo, am I lying? I beg go verify from Dr. Mo.
Dr. Mo, can you verify? But even if he doesn't verify, I can verify on his behalf. I
As a
can
matter of
verify.
fact, I rather they don't know. They do. They will take advantage of
Sorry,
it.
Dr. Mo,
I
can you
know what
kindly
they are saying.
unmute, please? Dr. Mo, kindly unmute. Sorry, say that again. Kindly
Yes,
unmute.
am I in now?
Yes, you are in. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Oh
Dr. Mo.
boy.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I'm saying that I would rather they don't know, they don't get to know the humble, the sweet, sincere part of who Charlie Boy is, because they will take advantage of it. Some of us just want to keep that part to ourselves, because if they really do, so it's not something I want to talk about. I want them to keep thinking, like one told me that I know he used to sleep inside coffin. Say, see that skull way there for in front of his house. If you go there, I say, not true, my brother. And that's what I see. No go there. Oh. We want them to keep it. Let them keep believing it, because if they get to meet Charlie Boy, then you will now realize that all the lies that people have lied about him and all the shenanigans, and don't get me started on that. But like I
Okay,
said, truly, let them not know. It's better for us.
thank you very much. In one of his albums that he released sometime last year called the Odudubariba, if you look at the if you look at the mascot of the Odudubariba, many who do not know him would think that he's something close to that mascot of Odudubariba. Area Father,
But
you said,
Mazi, you know what Udubariba simply means? You do, don't you?
yes, of course I do. If
A
not for
butterfly.
yes. Now, before I let you, for me and many of our viewers, they don't want this to end, but at some point we need to pull the plug. Before I do, and there is this controversial tweet that happened 5 days ago, the day the Queen of England died. One of our sisters, Professor Uju Anya, made a tweet. You know, I know, but that tweet ruffled feathers because yes, many people were saying that you know, praising the queen, but she said no. The queen supervised the death of my people. That the queen, did say something, and I took note that you went and commented. Also said, for this you wish you can fly and go visit her. Now, does that mean you are in support of her tweet?
Of course I am, Mazi. And you should understand that the truth is bitter to many people who don't want to hear the truth. The truth is a bitter pill to swallow. And I'll just leave it at that. I think it was a height of courage for her to come out in a racist, infested uh, 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 community to be saying that. Yeah, that's a
No.
courageous woman right there. And that's
Really?
why I am soliciting already for her autograph and a handshake.
Wow.
Because
And
not a lot of people will speak the truth like that.
she in that tweet she did two things. She actually spoke the minds of millions, especially those that came
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that were colonized, and also she used that also to fire the shot and said, "Well, I am within the LGBT community, and you have to accept that. That's who she is." Very courageous woman, if you allow me to say. I must say that she's very courageous in my view. Anyway, so we'll be rounding up now. Your final words, Area Father. So let's quickly round up.
Well, I wish young people the best. I can't wait till 2023. And I'm filled with expectation, hoping that they'll make this father proud. And whatever positive thing that they have to do to make their dreams come true, I'm right there with them, as usual, always.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mo.
Just two things I want to say, and it's important for us all to remember that there is no culture that is older than humanity. So after all is said and done, gay or straight, Muslim, Christian, black or white, And at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And then to my fellow Nigerians across the length and breadth of this country, I need you to know that we're standing at the precipice, pa Zik, pa Awo, pa Sa'amadu Bello. They wish that they were living in these times. They wish. We have the greatest of opportunity to turn around the status quo of this nation. And there is no better time to stand and ensure that at the end of the day, we get somebody who is energetic, who is rightly positioned to pilot the affairs of this nation. Because once that is done, I can guarantee you in 10 years, Nigeria will be world power. Because all that is required for Nigeria to be super world power is already resident here. From our natural to human resources, to our population, we all have it. All that we need to do right now is to get our politics and leadership fixed.
Thank you very much, Dr. MadMo. That's a very fine place to leave it. People, it has been an exciting, close to 1 hour conversation with the AreaFada himself, Charles Chukwuemeka Oputa, who many of you know within the Nigerian and African, music industry. He is a Nigerian singer, songwriter, television presenter, publisher, producer, and also a human rights activist. In his words, was very, very influenced by his late father. So it is a place to drop the curtain this evening, and I must tell you, it has been my pleasure. Join me on Friday as well. I will be having a one-on-one conversation with Mayor Kate Anolue, who is the mayor of Enfield from the United Kingdom. We will be discussing her book that is a very interesting one. On that note, I say good night to all of us. Bye for now.
I represent and symbolize all the characteristics of a typical Igbo man. Yes, I've learned to be more Igbotic than I ever expected. As an Igbo man, I've perfected the act of being tenacious in any dream that I chase. To be industrious, be consistent, and powerfully focused. All the lessons I learned from the brothers in the tribe have made me dogged, hardworking, and exhibiting the ability and the capacity to survive in any kind of weather. Yes, I am an original Wafo because